Hey everybody, welcome to Epic Art Battle of History. That's right, in these videos I'm matching two similar art supplies against each other, and in doing that I'll also be drawing with these art supplies two people who may have been notoriously battling each other. So one side will have one person in the battle, the other art supplier will be represented by the other person in the battle, and I'll be drawing each of those people with the different art supplies, and then at the end I'll let you know which I preferred in terms of quality and in terms of the product and how it came out after using these. And you yourself can also make a decision if you want, but I'm just going to give you my opinion on the art supply itself, and you can make a decision on the drawing or the person themselves. I don't know. It is an art battle. Opinions are just like art. They're subjective. But if you like one person like the other person, make a statement and let me know. It's all good. But if you like how one person's artwork or drawing or rendition came out as opposed to the other person, make a comment about that also, because this is about art supplies and you don't want to waste your money on something that's low quality just because it wasn't drawing the person that you favored. You know what I mean? But today, the battle is between my two favorite female rappers. Not only are they my two favorite female rappers, they're also my two favorite beefers. Is beefers a word? On one hand, we have Cardi B, who will be represented by the Artist Loft watercolor dual markers. And basically, these watercolor markers are markers that have they're supposed to work like watercolor, right? They have two edges. There's the brush nib, and then there's a pen nib on the other side. So I'm going to try those out on Cardi B and see how they come out. They're from Artist Loft, as I said before, and I bought these for, I think it was $24, and I got like 50 of them. And because I wasn't really familiar with how to use them when I first bought them, I almost threw them away.
You are so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
Stupid. But it turns out that all you needed to do was add water. Who knew? Okay, so I'm going to be using those. And those are going to be going against the Prismacolor water-soluble color pencils. And here's the thing, right off the bat, I got about 50 of these markers for $24, and I think they were on sale at Michael's. So, but I got 12 of these for the same price. 12 water-soluble color pencils for $24, and 50 water-soluble markers with two nibs for the same price. Okay? But yes, we will be representing Nicki Minaj with the color pencils. So it's watercolor markers versus watercolor color pencils versus Cardi B versus Nicki Minaj. Let the battle begin. Okay, we're going to start with Cardi B first. I started off with just laying out basically the shadows of her face with kind of a brown watercolor marker, and I was able to, based on those shadows, I was able to just cover her entire face lightly while still keeping the shadows where I needed them to be. These markers responded very well whenever I added water. I gotta tell you, it was if they were reading my mind. So in all the places that I touched up and then I needed to retouch, the markers were very good for retouching, again, because they're not that opaque, so they went on light, but as you layer them, they got darker. And They got darker, not so aggressively, so you can layer on layer and layer, and as you layer, basically you can see where you need to improve on your shadows or where you might have made a mistake, and then you can go in and then correct that mistake. I didn't have any problems manipulating the colors. They seem to respond very well to everything that I wanted them to do. You just have to make sure that wherever you want, like for instance, if you want the black in the hair, you have to make sure to leave a lot of room for the colors to spread, because even though they don't go on very opaque, which is great, the darker colors like the black can be opaque and can last a long time, which is a good thing for the darker colors, because with one dip of water on the brush, I was able to do the hair and the eyelashes and parts of the eye. So that was also something that worked really great for the markers, is that I was able to like dip in. Like as you can see, I'm dipping on to the hair to use the paint that's up there to do the eyes and the eyebrows and parts of the nose. So that was a good thing, because it does allow you to do that with darker colors. Being that I'm all about realism, I try to get the most realistic effect with the watercolors as possible. And it was easy to achieve that with the watercolor markers. Again, one of the big reasons that was because they didn't really go on very opaque, and I was able to like manipulate the shading easily and subtly, so make it like subtle gradients and subtle shading, so that it looks more realistic. And I have to tell you, realism is all about shading and transitions from one color to the next, or one shade to the next. That's the bread and butter of realism. So I would go on very light and then just kind of ease each color into one another, and with the markers, the colors blended so nicely, just beautiful blend. So it wasn't very difficult for me to achieve a realistic look for Cardi as I was doing this. This is a very like nice picture of her. It's like one of my favorite pictures of Cardi with the short hair. I think she's absolutely beautiful. So it was a joy to draw this picture and represent her with these artist loft markers. But they do blend very well. They go on very lightly. I think that's great. They're not too opaque, and they do achieve a level of realistic or realism that I was actually very comfortable with, considering that it was watercolor. So that was very good for me. Now let's get to Nicki Minaj. I started off with her hair and just trying to get a nice little gradient with her hair. She had in the source material, she had very light blonde hair, so I wanted to start off with that. In all fairness, I had like 12 colors to work with for Nicki, as opposed to the 48 colors I had for Cardi, so I'll take that into consideration. Some colors I had to mix. But right off the bat, starting with her hair, I also noticed that the colors, they blended very well, but they went on very opaque for the color pencils. So basically, it's watercolor, so of course you have to add water to everything. So, but the colors, although they blended very well, they went on very opaquely, and they weren't, as I would say, as forgiving as the markers. I had to go in a couple times to get them to blend, maybe 2 more times more than I did with the marker. Like on her hair, I kept having to stroke the brush on her hair like a few more times to get them to blend the way I wanted them to. And going in on her face, again, I didn't have all the skin tones that I did for Cardi, so I mixed some colors to get a nice little tone on her face. So I mixed like a brown and a red to get that beautiful glow that Nicki has. She has like beautiful skin. Like if you ever look at a picture of Nicki, her skin is like always perfect. She's beautiful. So I tried to, tried to do her skin justice with this drawing. And again, with the color pencils, um, they weren't as flowing as the the markers, but they did achieve a like a I would say a rougher transition from one color to the next, a rougher transition, but it was effective. But they did go on really opaque, really opaque. I had to be very careful. And as you see, there's in the upper left corner there, there's an eyelash, and that's when I learned that they went on so opaque when I did the black, that it was so dark that I know that if I decided to go in and make that an eyebrow, I would have definitely like messed it up. So I don't know if you just saw, I was dipping from that eyebrow for a little while to blacken the eyes and things like that. In the end, I really kind of realized that the markers went on a little bit more smoothly and more fluently. And I was able to achieve more of a level of realism with the watercolor markers than with the color pencils. The color pencils, they were a little harsh on the paper, and they were a little harder to blend than than the watercolor markers. So the Nicki Minaj, although I think it came out very nicely, and probably that's mostly because of Nicki than my drawing skills. I think that I would have, if given a choice, I would have definitely chosen the markers. So although I'm a big fan of both of these incredibly beautiful women and talented artists, I think I gotta go with Cardi on this one, with the watercolor markers, and say that Cardi won this battle, man. Well, what do you think? Do you think the watercolor markers came out better, or do you think the watercolor pencils came out better? Comment below and let me know. Thank you everyone for watching, and if you have any suggestions or any requests of who you want to see going up against each other in the epic art supply battles of history, please just comment below, let me know. I'm very open to suggestions, and I can't wait to see you guys on the next epic battle, okay?